Hello everyone. So in this video we will cover neuroanatomy in a very easy manner. We'll start from the basics. So neuroanatomy. So this is the basics of neuroanatomy, that is nervous system. As we all know that nervous system is divided into central nervous system, that is CNS, and also peripheral nervous system, that is PNS. Central nervous system, that is comes it includes brain and spinal cord. This brain and spinal cord, it comes at the center, so it is easy to remember that central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. So from the spinal cord, certain nerves are coming out, right, which are included in the peripheral nervous system, which include the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. Cranial nerves, we have 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. And cranial nerves, we will come to it later. Coming to the spinal nerve is again classified into cervical spinal nerve, thoracic spinal nerve, lumbar spinal nerve, sacral spinal nerve, and coccygeal spinal nerve. So the cervical spinal nerves consist of 8 pairs of spinal nerves out of 31 pairs. Thoracic, it is 12 pairs. Lumbar, it is 5. Sacral, also 5. Coccygeal, it comprises of 1 pair of spinal nerves. So this is the basics, that is nervous system is divided into central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. So central nervous system includes brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system includes the cranial nerves and spinal nerves. So I guess this much is clear. So the next. Yes, we will start with central nervous system. So guys, central nervous system includes only 2 things, that is brain and spinal cord, right? Yes. So brain is otherwise called as encephalon. Okay, brain is otherwise called as encephalon. Now onwards we need to study the basic terms of these parts of the brain. So that is very important for exams too. So brain is also called as encephalon. Yes. So you can see in the figure, this is forebrain, this is midbrain, and this is the hindbrain, right? Yes. So forebrain is otherwise called as prosencephalon. There is encephalon. Yes. Yes, midbrain is also called as mesencephalon, and hindbrain is also called as rhombencephalon. Coming to the forebrain is again divided into telencephalon and diencephalon. What is telencephalon? Telencephalon is nothing but cerebrum. The 2 cerebral hemisphere is called as telencephalon. Cerebrum is called as telencephalon. And what is diencephalon? Diencephalon is a part. This is the diencephalon. This is the part between the forebrain and the midbrain. That is the part between the prosencephalon and the mesencephalon. So diencephalon consists of all the thalami part. All the thalamus are included under diencephalon. So I guess this much is clear. And our poor midbrain, it is not at all divided, thank God. And then coming to the hindbrain is again divided into pons, cerebellum, and medulla. Okay, hindbrain is divided into the pons, cerebellum, and the medulla. We can see and the figure. So this is the hindbrain, this is pons, this is the medulla, and there is our cerebellum. Yes, again pons plus cerebellum is called as metencephalon. This pons plus cerebellum is called as metencephalon, and we have medulla oblongata, that is myencephalon. So yeah, I guess you get all these terminologies. So this section of the brain is called as the sagittal section of the brain. Yes, this is called as a sagittal section of the brain. Yes, we divide the brain at the level of the 2 cerebral hemispheres, separating the 2 cerebral hemispheres. So that is a sagittal section. We also have 2 more sections, that is coronal section and also a transverse plane. What is coronal section? That is the anteroposterior section. We divide the brain an anterior part and a posterior part. That is the middle of the brain. We divide at this plane, and we also have a transverse plane where we divide the brain as an upper and a lower part. So these are the 3 planes: sagittal, coronal, and also transverse plane. That is clear, I guess. So coming to the coronal plane, so this is the brain. Okay, this is the 2 cerebral hemispheres, and what is this, guys? This is the diencephalon, and this is the midbrain. Here comes the pons, and here comes the medulla, and it continues as a spinal cord. That much is clear. We will study about the ventricles now. So in the cerebrum, we have this 2 lateral ventricles. Okay, these are the two lateral ventricles, and we have four ventricles. We have two lateral ventricles, and we have a third, and we also have a fourth ventricle. So these are the lateral ventricles, and then we have a third ventricle over here in the diencephalon. We also have a fourth ventricle over here in the pons medulla and also the cerebellum. Okay, that is the entire hindbrain or rhombencephalon. So lateral ventricles, there are two lateral ventricles present in the telencephalon. Is that clear? Yes. And then we have telencephalon means cerebrum. Yes, in the third ventricle is present in the diencephalon. This is the diencephalon. And the fourth ventricle is present in the entire rhombencephalon. Rhombencephalon is nothing but, guys, it is the hindbrain. Is that clear? Yes, hindbrain. That is, it includes pons, medulla and cerebellum. Yes. And what is present inside these ventricles? Ventricles, there is CSF present inside these ventricles, and the CSF is produced from the choroid plexus. And the choroid plexus are there in the fourth ventricles, in the third ventricles, in the lateral ventricles, but majority of the CSF is produced in the lateral ventricles. And it follows a passage like this. It gets into all the four ventricles and it leaves the brain. So that's the thing, and we will study about this passage. So most of the CSF will be formed from the choroid plexus of the lateral ventricles. So I guess this much is clear. Yes. So these are the passage. From the lateral ventricle, CSF is produced, right? Yes, CSF is produced from the choroid plexus, right? Yes. And after this production, it goes through a passage and it enters into the third ventricle. So this passage is called as the foramen of Monro. Okay, this passage where the CSF flows from the lateral ventricles to the third ventricles, this passage is called as the foramen of Monro. And after this passage from the third ventricle, it enters into the fourth ventricles through an aqueduct. This is called as aqueduct of Sylvius, or is also called as cerebral aqueduct. So what is cerebral aqueduct, guys? Cerebral aqueduct is a passage from where the CSF flows from the third ventricle to the fourth ventricle. I guess that much is clear. From the fourth ventricles, it enters into the spinal cord. That is the central canal of spinal cord. This passage from the fourth ventricle, it continues as the central canal of spinal cord. So guys, there are three foramen. So these two lateral green color foramen is called as foramen of Lashka. L lateral, L for Lashka. L for Lashka. Is that clear? Yes. And this a middle one. Okay, this is called as foramen of Magendie. M for middle. Is that clear? So through this foramens, the CSF is like moving out. So via these foramen, the CSF moves out of the brain from the fourth ventricle. It enters into a subarachnoid space. Okay, it enters into the subarachnoid space. We also need to study about the clinical correlation also. In anatomy, applied anatomy is a very important aspect to you to score marks in the university examinations. So clinical correlation. So there is a medical condition where the aqueduct of Sylvius narrows. So that is called as the stenosis of aqueduct, which is also called as congenital aqueductal stenosis. So here, this aqueduct of Sylvius get narrowed. This is the aqueduct of Sylvius, it get narrowed. So what happened, guys? So there is a third ventricle, it get enlarged. Okay, the third ventricle get enlarged. So that is that condition. And we have atresia foramen of Lashka and Magendie. So it is seen in Dandy-Walker syndrome. So there comes the enlargement. So this is the foramen, three foramen. So there comes the enlargement of the fourth ventricle. So that are the two applied anatomy in the case of ventricles. So that much is in this video. So for more videos, just subscribe to my channel if possible. So if you like really understood this video, just please let me know through your likes and comments. Thank you. We will meet in the part 2 of neuroanatomy.